A man's need is to be free, to make choices, to be the one that is making all of the decisions. He needs that freedom. And when a man's integrity is online and when a woman's self-worth is online in a relationship, that need for freedom is not a problem. When his integrity is not online, or when a woman's self-worth is not fully there, not fully present, it's going to cause a lot of problems in the relationship. I'm going to illustrate what I'm talking about by talking about my life prior to me learning about polarity, prior to my masculine instinct coming fully online. And then I'm going to talk about how things have shifted for me now in my relationship and how things have shifted with my wife for me to be able to still be free, to basically do whatever I want, and for her needs to fully be met. When you first hear this, it might sound like those are two very incompatible needs, right? A woman's need to be cherished and a man's need to be free. How is that even possible? Well, I'm going to clarify that for you. So first, I have been married to my wife for about 10 years now. 9 years and another year in our relationship before we actually got married. So about 10. And in our marriage, before about 3.5 years into our marriage, or 2.5 years into our marriage, I was basically like a Peter Pan. I wanted to never grow up. I would lead sort of, but I would lead selfishly in the relationship. I wasn't very thoughtful. I wasn't really considering her needs, my wife's needs, in the way that she needed. And so I basically just did whatever I wanted because that was my need. Like, I felt that need to be free, to not be tied down. Other than I was okay with being exclusive, but other than that, I wanted to do whatever I wanted, basically. And so I ended up being selfish, and I ended up hurting my wife in many ways because of my selfishness, because of my need that wasn't properly integrated as a healthy, mature, masculine man. And that ended up causing tons of problems. I lost resentment for my wife. And from my perspective at the time, I just thought, like, what's wrong with this? Like, I will just do whatever I want. I'll just be totally free to do whatever I want, and you be totally free to do whatever you want. Other than us being monogamous, that was like the one kind of decision that we made together. Otherwise, I just wanted us to do kind of whatever we wanted. And that's a really big problem. That's not a healthy masculine mindset to have, because there's no responsibility in that, right? It's basically a man and woman coming together and like kind of as roommates, like partners, like, hey, you do whatever you want, I'll do whatever I want. It's more like a friends with benefits than a true relationship. And many men are stuck in this kind of mentality because they feel that need to be free. And that might actually manifest sexually as well. And that's a really big problem. And they'll make tons of justifications for it. You know, men are not meant to be monogamous and all this nonsense. Totally not true. And they end up hurting their woman because of it. Because they don't know how to operate in a relationship, how to show up in a relationship and still operate through that freedom. So the woman just ends up getting hurt. Well, what happened 2.5 years into my marriage, so 3.5 years into knowing my wife, is I had a son. We had a son. He was born under very unfortunate conditions. He eventually died 6 months into his life. And he woke up my masculine instinct in a very beautiful way. My protector instinct came fully online. My provider instinct came fully online, where I basically wanted to do anything to take care of him, to protect him, to keep him alive, to keep him safe from doctors, bad decisions doctors made. And I'd never felt anything like that before. I didn't think it was really possible to feel anything like that, because I thought at the time, I'm just so healed and amazing. Don't really have much growth left to do, when really I had so much growth that I had left to do. When my instinct came online, not only did I start to feel that desire for my son, but I started wanting that with my wife as well. I wanted to be in a position to take care of her, to cherish her, to lead her, to protect her. I started feeling a sense of responsibility for her that I didn't have before. And that's something that's really important, this idea of responsibility. A man is supposed to be responsible for his woman in a similar way that he should have responsibility to take care of his child. Now, obviously, a woman is going to have a lot more independence and capabilities and all of this stuff. But still, a man has to have that responsibility for his woman, because his woman is supposed to be under his care. He is supposed to be leading the relationship. And as the leader, a man needs to have that responsibility. But that sense of responsibility, at least at first, it seems like that's going to clash with a man's need for freedom. But that's not really true. Not when his heart starts coming online, not when his integrity starts coming online. I'm going to explain why. I'm going to explain the shift that I experienced, how I'm able to basically have total freedom in my relationship, where my need gets fully met, but my wife also has all of her needs met, where she gets fully cherished. Before I explain that, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Zach Rohde. I'm here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. If you've not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that below. Hit the notification bell, and of course be sure to like this video because I'm going to make sure it's a good one. And if you would like help learning how to shift out of your unhealthy control patterns into inspiring a man into taking care of you, cherishing you, being devoted to you, then go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the link to my main website, Relationship Your Dreams. That's where all my offers are: Masterclass, dating course, academy, and my free training on how to make these shifts. If you have not yet watched that training, make sure you do that. It's going to really shift your perspective in a lot of powerful ways. Okay, so my marriage now, it's very different than it was back then because I feel a strong sense of devotion for my wife. I feel a very strong sense of devotion and a very strong sense of responsibility. I understand on the deepest level, I am responsible for my wife. I'm responsible for taking care of her. And I have led my wife out of her control patterns. So out of leading by, asking kind of these leading questions. I've led her out of initiating, out of judging, out of blaming, out of any kind of control energy, out of manipulation, but that's never really been much of a thing in our relationship, out of nagging, out of resisting my leadership. So all of these are control patterns, and there's several others that I haven't listed. But when a woman is in these control patterns, she's energetically trying to control her man. And she might be trying to control his behaviors. That can definitely be a thing that happens. And or she's controlling his perception of her. Okay? So an example of this, if you happen to avoid sharing your feelings, well, you are trying to control a man's perceptions of you by trying to not rock the boat, by not being too much, by being docile and simple and easygoing, so that a man sees you as worthy, basically, so that a man doesn't abandon you or doesn't get reactive or whatever the reason is. Okay, so that's managing perception, and women do this all the time. Men do it as well. We've been trained from childhood to manage perceptions of other people, especially our significant other, the person that we supposedly love the most, because we want their love. We want their care. We don't want to be abandoned by them. And so this can be a very common thing that people are doing, men and women, but women specifically, and it can often be unconscious. Like you don't even realize that you are doing it because it's so deeply ingrained because you've been doing it your entire life. And that's why these videos can be really helpful for you, because I will tell you in so many different ways, pointing out all the ways that you are controlling. Because many women, especially women who seem quite feminine on the surface, you're like, I don't control a man at all. But then when we dig down deeper and we talk about perception management, you start to realize, I do control a man. I complied to his leadership. I did what he wanted. I held space for his complaining. Why? To manage his perceptions. That's why you do that. That's why you dishonor your heart. Otherwise, why would you dishonor your heart? Why would you make yourself feel like crap other than to manage his perceptions? So that's controlling his perceptions. So women control a man's perceptions all the time. And the more that you are controlling, the more that you're interfering with his freedom and or with his perception of freedom. The other thing that you can do to control is even just sharing your feelings. Like if you're sharing your feelings, but not from a pure vulnerable place, like, I'm feeling really sad, but you're kind of grasping, trying to get him to care. Well, he's going to feel that grasping, and that's a form of control, and now he's going to feel this kind of obligation to take care of you, to make sure that you're happy, and he might do it. He might put in the effort to make sure that you're happy, but it's not coming from his pure autonomous choice. It's coming from a place of obligation, because it's like, this is what I'm supposed to do, and that's his wounding, right? Like that little boy who did what he was supposed to do, being a good boy for mommy and daddy's love. So he's doing it all out of obligation rather than devotion. So he's not free in the relationship. Even if you would let him do whatever he wanted, basically, he's going to feel your control tentacles stopping him, obligating him, and he's not going to feel free. And when a man doesn't feel free in the relationship, what is he going to do? He's going to start basically acting out in certain ways. That could be cheating on you. That could be making bad financial choices. That could be tuning you out and going to the bar and doing his own thing. A lot of different possibilities. And this is not to say, hey, this is your fault because a man does this. A man is responsible for his own bad behaviors, his own bad decisions. That's 100% on him. But it is important to see how you can be co-creating these situations with your own control. Still his choice. Still his choice, but you're still co-creating it. And if you had chosen differently with your patterns and not controlled, then he might have also chosen differently. And this isn't like, don't get into the mindset of like, ooh, I got to do all these things so that my man acts properly so he can feel free. Because all you're doing there is trying to control him in a different way. You're still managing. You need to let go of all of that. And the only way that's possible is by using feminine communication when you're feeling like controlling in some kind of way, right? Like instead of nagging, or instead of sharing your feelings where like you're grasping at him and there might be a nagging frequency to it in some kind of way, or that's going to obligate him, being really vulnerable, like you're energetically letting go in the moment, being like, may I please have some help with what I'm feeling? And you share the feeling when he asks, like, I'm just feeling some sadness. And you're not energetically trying to make anything happen. You are in a state of full acceptance in the moment. And now the man is energetically free to do whatever he wants. And that's part of what makes it so scary for a woman to be vulnerable, right? Because you will feel, when you're being vulnerable, when you're using feminine communication, a loss of control. I do discovery calls with women where we talk about their issues and what they need to shift and give them some coaching. It's all free, but we find out if they're right for the academy as well, if they're right for our solution of coaching them and leading them through all of this stuff. And one of the things that comes up over and over again is that when I'll lead you on the call, like you join one of these calls, if you start using masculine communication, unintentionally, of course, I will lovingly correct you. I'll show you how to communicate differently. And that's totally, it's free. It's my provision. I do that with love. Of course, I don't want to scare anyone from not doing these calls because you're afraid you're going to get correction. It's actually a really good thing for you to see your blind spots. But when I do that and tell women like, communicate this way, ask permission here, ask for help here, share what the feeling is vulnerably, let go of the guards. And I lead a woman through that. She's like, oh my God, like I feel so vulnerable. Like I feel so much fear doing this. It's like, yeah, of course. That's why it's so hard to do it, because you have all these protection mechanisms that are preventing you from being fully open in your heart, from being fully vulnerable. But that's the only way for you to show up in a way where a man is energetically free, because now he's free to lead. And why is this a good thing? So in my relationship now, I promised you to talk about this, and here we go. In my marriage now, I can do pretty much anything I want. Now, there will be consequences if I make really bad choices, but I mean that I'm energetically free in the sense that my wife is not controlling me. She's not trying to control my perceptions, and she's not trying to control my behaviors. She will share what comes up for her vulnerably if I do something really thoughtless or inconsiderate or incompetent in some kind of way, but she's not trying to control me when I do it. And so now I am free to do whatever I want energetically, but here's the key. All I want to do is be responsible for her, be the most responsible man that I can be in the relationship, in the marriage. All I want to do is cherish her. And the other part of this is because she's being so respectful, she's doing her best to be more feminine, to follow my leadership. That also further inspires me as well, right? There's multiple pieces to this, but a big part of it is, okay, she's not controlling me now. Now it's fully my choice, and my choice is I want to just take care of you. So now I feel free. It's like, hey, Zach, you can do whatever you want in this relationship. Here's a good example of this. I think I talked about this on another video. Let's say that my wife was like, hey, if you want, you can have a threesome. You can bring in any other woman, or just sleep with any other woman, once a month or whatever. My answer is, F no. I'm not doing that. And I'd be leading her into her feelings, figuring out why on earth she would be suggesting this in the first place. Obviously, there's a problem there. Even if she was totally okay with it, even if she totally let me do it, I'm not doing it. And the reason I'm not doing it is because I have a strong sense of responsibility for her heart, for her feelings, for her needs. I feel a responsibility for the container of the relationship. I feel a responsibility to keep this container in integrity and to be in integrity myself. And for me to do something like that, to break the container of the relationship or to do anything else that she's okay with me doing that I don't believe is in integrity, yeah, I would be free to do it, but I wouldn't want to because it's not responsible. So there's no reason I would ever choose that. It's like, just as a kind of sick example, if I'm like a single parent and I can do whatever I want to my daughter, I can abuse her, I can hit her, I can yell at her. I don't want to do any of that because I love her. All I want to do is take care of her. All I want to do is cherish her, right? Even if there is no government telling me what not to do, I'm not going to do any of that horrible stuff. I'm just going to love her. I'm free to do whatever, hypothetically, if I was free to do whatever, but I don't want to because that's horrible. Right? And it's the same thing in a relationship. It's the same thing in a devoted relationship where a woman is giving a man the freedom to choose, and he is in integrity and he feels a sense of responsibility and he wants to do the best that he can for his woman. Now understand, there's one missing piece to this before we wrap things up. This does not mean, because here's what's going to happen. I can just picture it. There's going to be a whole bunch of women who've gotten this far, and you're going to start interpreting this. This means like being a doormat in some kind of way. I am not leading you to be a doormat. I am absolutely not leading you to be a doormat in any kind of way. I'm not leading you to settle for crumbs in any way. There is plenty of women out there who will tolerate a man's really irresponsible behavior. And it's like, I'm just letting a man do what I want. But deep down, the women that do that, and you might be one of them, you're actually trying to control. You're trying to control his perceptions of you. You're trying to avoid him abandoning you. You're trying to make sure that he sees you as good enough, as worthy enough, as someone who's not rocking the boat, who's not too much. That's the only reason a woman would essentially let a man get away with that stuff. Let's say I did something terrible. I don't know what it would be, but that really is disrespectful to my wife. She's not going to let me get away with that in the sense of like, she's just not going to say anything. She's going to bring it up with me, vulnerably, using feminine communication. And then it's my job to help her feel good about everything that happened. How am I going to do that? Well, I need to take a lot of accountability. I need to be able to reflect on my behavior and see why it was inappropriate in whatever way. I need to be able to make amends, however that's going to look. I need to be able to at least start restoring her trust so that she's able to start following my lead again. And because I know, even though I have this freedom in the relationship, at the same time, it's this paradox. I know that if I dropped the ball too much, if I really started stepping out of integrity, my wife would leave me. And she should. Any woman should leave a man if he steps too much out of integrity, right? Because, and I'm not going to say exactly where that place is here, but if a woman's not willing to walk away from a relationship, even a marriage, when she is being mistreated, when she's doing all that she reasonably can as well, not just she can show up however she wants. If she's not willing to, then she's not going to be in her self-worth, and she's not going to be inspiring a man into this level of responsibility. I mean, it's possible that a man could just choose to be responsible no matter how a woman shows up. There are men like that, but there's not many men like that. I am a man like that. I become a man like that. I didn't used to be, but there's not many men who are like that. They can be inspired to become that with your vulnerability, with your radical honesty in a feminine way, with your self-worth, you displaying your self-worth, with your willingness to flow away. He needs to be able to feel all of that. And that's what's going to allow him to shift into that responsibility, into that integrity, and then be able to make choices in the relationship, leading the relationship from a place of freedom. And ultimately, that's what a woman really wants. No woman wants a man to do things for her when he feels controlled in some way, when he's afraid that she's going to not like it, when she's going to manipulate him with her feelings, when she's going to be upset, right? Like he's doing the thing, but to not upset her, to placate her. No woman wants that. What a woman ultimately wants, what you ultimately want deep down, is a man who does have all the control, who does have all the power, who is free to make whatever choices in the relationship that he wants. And he chooses to love you. He chooses to cherish you. He chooses to protect you. He chooses to provide for you. He chooses to be the best man that he can for you, simply because he loves you, even though he's free to not. That's what every woman wants. And I'm here to help you do it, help you inspire that, or help you attract that kind of man and then inspire that man to continue doing that. Because so much of that does depend on you. It depends on how you show up in the relationship. Yes, a man plays a part as well. But the thing you always have to be asking when you look at, a co-creation, whether it's a past relationship or a current one, is, am I doing everything that I reasonably can to make this relationship work? To be the best feminine woman that I can be? Am I doing everything I can to let go of control? Am I using feminine communication relatively well? Doesn't have to be flawlessly, but relatively well. Do I even know what feminine communication is? Do I know how to communicate in a way where I'm lowering all the guards around my heart? If you're not doing that stuff and a man is not showing up in the way that I'm describing, then I got good news. This is good news. This is empowerment. This is empowering you to be a feminine woman. The good news is you can do something about it. You can change your circumstances. You can learn how to inspire a man to be better for you. But it's not about trying more. It's not about putting more effort into this, trying to make him change. I keep trying to do everything. I keep giving. I keep pouring my heart into this relationship. No, you're doing it all backwards. That's not going to fix things. It's about letting go of control. It's the man's job to pour into the relationship. It's the woman's job to receive what he is pouring into. And it's her job to inspire that from him by her being vulnerable, by her being soft, by her being respectful, reverential, by her using feminine communication, from her always communicating her needs and her feelings when they come up, not hiding them, not complying, always being willing to walk away if necessary, if it really came down to it. Do an honest assessment of yourself and see what you actually have to do to shift as best you know. And I would like to help you with that assessment, because if you would like help in our academy, working with me and my team, leading you through all of these shifts, then let's do a call. Go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the link to my main website, relationshipyourdreams.com. Right on the main website, there's a video to watch. You book a call right below it. We'll get on a call and we'll do an assessment. I'll ask you a whole bunch of questions. I'll feel your energy. I'll understand your history, what's going on in the past or what has gone on, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about whether we can actually help you in our program. And I'll give you coaching on the call for free about what you need to do to shift, so that you really get it, so that you understand. I'm telling you all this stuff on video, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll fully understand how you're co-creating your specific situation. Let's figure that out together. That requires me speaking to you one-on-one. So we'll talk all about that. We'll figure out, is the academy right for you? And if it is, fantastic. We'll talk about the academy. You can ask me any questions you have, and then we'll decide together, mostly your decision. Do you want to join the academy? Do you want to work with us? And if so, great. We can help you create the relationship of your dreams. If that's you, I look forward to that call with you, and I'll speak with you soon. That's it for this one.